promising. Yes, it does. Cool. And we're ready for liftoff. And we are live once again on YouTube for another episode of Talk Power BI. Hello, my friends. Thank God it's Friday, right? Hey, good to have you on. We have some folks from our Learn Power BI family on the phone. Today we have Ansgar and Bill joining us on the phone. If you are in the Learn Power BI family, then the email you get, look for the special pass link. Click on that to join on the phone with me. That just makes it easier to talk to me, ask me questions, all of that. So let's see. So if you're watching me on YouTube, then do say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Where are you right now? And I love kind of hearing that. So we have Yatreb Saeed Islam says, hi, Avi from New Jersey. Samuel is here. Hey, Samuel. Always good to have you on. Samuel says hi. Jen Nabel is here again. Again, another one of those familiar faces. Jen, always good to have you on. Cool. So let's see. Well, let me check in. So today, I don't have a kickoff topic. Sometimes I do. I might have to make up a story. Not make up a story, but think of a story that I want to share with you. All right, let's see. A few more hellos. Jatrip says hi. He's from Tunisia. Good. And Ione says hello from Sacramento. And Danny says hello again from Greensboro, Georgia. Awesome. Shalimar says hi. Perfect. So hello and welcome aboard, folks. Let me just switch over here. Yep, awesome. People are joining. So, I don't know. I'm tempted to think of a story, but let me check in with Ansgar and Bill. How are things going? If you have any questions for us today, or an update, that would work too. September 20th. What a great day. All right, so folks, on YouTube, it is all you. So carry us forth, my friend. And if you have any questions, we're diving right into questions today, so that's going to be exciting. So Shomer is, let's see if that's a question, is, hi, I'm new to Power BI from Canada, and I'm interested in using Power BI with some URI data. I'm not sure what that is. I'll have to Google that. Is that a URL, like web data? Yeah, so Shomer, help me out, and definitely glad to have you on board. Jeff says hello from St. Paul. Great, Shomer, you got it. JSON URL as a data source. Cool. What would you? So Jen Abel has a question as well. Let's talk about the future of Power BI. Oh, all right, cool. Thank you, guys, for kicking us off. So I think we got enough fuel to kind of get started. So let's kick it off. I think let's start with the JSON URL. JSON URL, we can do that. So, Shomer, it is definitely possible. I mean, so far I haven't met a match. I haven't met a challenge that I wasn't able to solve in Power BI. I'm sure they're out there. Yeah, I'm not saying Power BI can solve everything, but yeah, So let's see URI as data source. So let's focus on this for now, and it would take me a little bit of time, unless you have a link you can share with us. That would speed things up, and of course I would be able to give you the specific help you need. And now, of course, if it's any sensitive data, don't put it on YouTube, right? I'm gonna put it on YouTube. So yeah, so don't do that. But if it's something like a sample file, then you can do it. Otherwise, I'll just start feature Power BI. Cool. So will objections, what is that? That's from a previous call. So I messed up something, didn't I? So, yes, of course. I'm putting my notes in the wrong place. All right, let's see. All right. So Bill, by the way, Bill in Ansgar said hello as well. Bill says greetings from Memphis, and Ansgar is of course right here in Redmond, Washington. Great, glad to have you guys on. So let's go back to YouTube. I'm gonna pop out this chat so it's closer to me. Perfect. All right, Bala, I'm not sure I understand your question. How much session would be? Like, how long would it be? As long as it takes. Well, usually it's 2 to 3 hours. If it's a 3 hour session, that often means that I had a lot of fun. Yeah, it depends on how much fun I'm having. Shouldn't that be the rule of life? Isn't that how we imagine if you really lived life that way? Just how much fun we're having. Anyway, all right. So Sahil has a question as well. So Shomer, give me a link, mate. Otherwise, it'll take me some time. Now, this is, you know what? Let me just. So this is covered in our program. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. Mini courses, real Power BI. Yeah, we do have to organize some of our advanced library stuff. Master class. Where is it? Where is it? I think it's still here. It needs to be moved. All right, folks, give me a second. Let me check. Gustavo, good to have you on, mate. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Terrific. Where are you based? Sorry, out of the blue. How are things with on the Power BI front?
Things are progressing. We are working with a consultant to um, start working on the data warehouse.
All right.
So, we're a very small team, and so we needed some help on that front. So I'm hoping to start that in October, that project. So, and right now, learning Power BI and kind of doing some quick wins, trying to get
Mm-hmm.
people on board, and so that when the time comes when we can do some more, you know, organization-wide kind of Power BI, then
Yeah,
people will be a little bit more familiar. So that's my
that's
plan right now.
that's great. So, uh, well, I'll just share one thought, and maybe you're already on the right track, but I think it might help others as well listening in. So, folks, sometimes I talk to companies and they come to me. It's like, Avi, uh, we spent the last 2 years building our data warehouse. Now we're done. Now we're ready for Power BI. And I mean, I kind of slap my forehead and go, no, you were ready 2 years ago, right? So yeah, don't make it like a serial thing. So kind of don't serialize it. Like, oh, first we'll do the data warehouse and then Power BI. You can get started in Power BI right away, and that's what I love about Power BI. That you can start, engaging your key users, your stakeholders, the data gene people, whatever you want to call them, right? These Excel guys, start pulling them in the fold, start empowering them, start training them, and the cool thing is that the models that they build will can easily be switched to the data warehouse when ready, right? So that's a snap, right? So you can get that momentum going on kind of that side, Power BI, all of that stuff, while you're building the data warehouse. That would be kind of my 2 cents.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Because we're trying to develop some of the reportings,
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll help us serve as a model in terms of what people actually need. So I
Oh
think
my gosh, yes. Oh yes,
I'm
that's
having
brilliant.
fun doing those. So it's like my blueprint
Yes,
for
yes.
the reports should actually be provided.
Oh, that's brilliant, right? I mean, yeah. So sometimes people, not you, others, right? Um, what they do is they go out and just take kind of 6 months or 1 year to build this thing, which they think is needed, and and they have the best intentions, but they come back and say, oh, it's ready, and then of course only when you start using it do you find that, oh, but the users want it this way or they don't like it this way, that all of that stuff. So yeah, by engaging the users, it actually, I think it kind of in a way both shortens the time frame it's going to take you to build a data warehouse, but more importantly, it's going to shorten it because it's going to help you focus on the most important stuff. You're going to get this constant feedback look. Oh, this is what the users need. Let's focus on that. So yeah, kind of that whole agile approach. And of course, man, I never get tired of saying that. I mean, Power BI is agile BI. Kind of a new wave. Approach it that way. Cool. That is awesome to hear that update. That's great to
Just
hear.
a I mean, just a question or a comment. I'm not sure which one is it, but
Uh-huh.
one thing that I'm also hoping to get a better sense and more clarity
Mm-hmm.
is organizing um, this reports. Whether they're workbooks. I mean, I'm trying to get a sense of first, I don't want to build one dashboard that it's for all purposes because that gets really complicated at the end of the
Yeah.
day. At the end of the day, they people get lost trying to play with them.
Yeah.
So they have to be
Yes.
kind of like, they have to have an objective,
Yeah.
trying to answer a question, be driven that way rather than just trying to put 20, 30 different things on it. So, but that means that I have to kind of think through about how do I organize all of these projects so that people
Yes.
can so that's I'm still trying to get my sense my head
Yeah.
around that a little bit more.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So cool. So I parked that for now, and yeah, I would love to talk about that. That's
Yep.
a great topic. All right.
Thank you.
So let me check back in on the chat if Shomer. So Shomera said, sorry as a data, so I need to use REST API, which provides JSON data accessible over a URL or URI. Okay. All right. So REST API. Actually, I was looking at this yesterday. I'm I'll admit that I haven't tried this. So REST API. Let's see if anybody else had any feedback. I've seen video explaining how to use JSON files. So okay, so you're good with using JSON files, but how do you access that over the REST API? So that's the real question, and nothing to do with JSON, right? So yeah, okay, that's good. I mean, yeah, because frankly, JSON is just like any other file. It's like a fancy CSV file. Sorry if I offended any JSON lovers. Like, wow, what are you talking about? JSON is awesome. Cool. Um, so what I would say is, yeah, I'm out of depth here, mate. So REST API, my Google search would be as good as yours, but the little bit that I do know is that there's a call called Web Contents, and that is what you use. It's just a web call, and it calls that, and it passes in the token or something that usually these guys ask for. So look for that, Google it, and oddly enough, I have the need as well. So it's crazy, right? I mean, it's crazy that how I run this really itsy bitsy, teeny weeny small business compared to the company that I last worked with as a full time employee, Microsoft. Microsoft is huge. At some point, they had 100,000 employees. I don't know how many they have now. But I have the same problems. My data is everywhere. I mean, we have like different systems, and I think that's the reality, right? So we have one project management system. If we have one to host our training content, we have, of course, that's where their training record is, and I want to bring it all together. So, and some of these systems have export. Some of them don't quite have an export. And of course, I don't want to export every day. I want to automate it. So I'm in the same boat. So who knows if, yeah, I mean, if you if you wait long enough, I might have solved it and created a video on it. But yeah, so that's the as much help as I can provide you. Of course, folks on the YouTube chat, if you have any specific suggestions, then let them know. Awesome. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't help you much. All right. So let's see. We took one from YouTube. So let's take so folks. Yeah, we take a question from YouTube. Well, we usually start with the students, but students were quiet today, and that was okay. Gustavo jumped in. So we usually kind of round robin. So one from the students, one from YouTube chat. And by the way, if you're a newbie, never hesitate to ask questions. So we have the same dynamic. Of course, we have our Learn Power BI community, all the students, and we have our own group there. And I always say, don't hesitate, right? I mean, especially if you are stuck trying to solve a real world business problem, never hesitate and to my students, I've kind of said that these words are banned because people were like, "Oh, I'm sorry if this is covered inside the course," and I'm like, "You don't have to say that. If it's covered inside the course, somebody will probably point you to that. Maybe I'll point you to that. What's the big deal, right? So if you're stuck with a real world problem, just go ahead and ask, right? So no, there are no stupid questions. There are stupid answers. So I reserve the right to, well, yeah, I mean, if I'm not smart enough to answer it, it might be a stupid answer. But that's on me. That's on me, not on you. So connecting to JSON data using REST API. All right, so Gustavo, let's switch on to your question. Hopefully, I'll have better luck than I did with the other one. How to organize. Let's go with large set of Power BI reports and dashboards. How many? Give me a sense. How many users are in your organization? How many would be using Power BI eventually? Like, is it hundreds, thousands? Oh, do I still have you on audio?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute.
Okay, no worries.
No, I mean, much smaller than that. We are probably on site at the office. We have maybe five,
Oh,
and
okay.
then remotely we have call centers that probably about 14 more.
Got it. Okay. So for awesome. So yeah, I mean, yeah, what I'm saying, frankly, guys. So folks on YouTube, it kind of applies. Doesn't matter if you end up at 5, 50, hundreds, or thousands. So it's similar to what I said earlier, where so Gustavo, I'll do this switch. Sometimes I'll talk to you. I'll try to use your name, just so you know, and sometimes I'll talk to the YouTube crowd. So, but
Okay.
hopefully it's going to be obvious. So YouTube folks, what I said about the data warehouse, I have seen the same thing here. And I frankly see the same a variation of the same thing is uh, and one of my friends described it beautifully. And he said that imagine wanting to go on a road trip, but then waiting for all the traffic signals to turn green. And of course it's a slight exaggeration, but again, so what I see people do is that before they even take the baby steps with Power BI, they're just evaluating Power BI at this point. And no, they wouldn't download Power BI desktop and build a model. That's what I would suggest. But instead, what they're doing is figuring out the licensing costs. They're doing this whole study of like how the licensing structure is, they're evaluating like premium and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, yeah, what if we do 5 and if we have it external? They're evaluating all these scenarios. And man, this takes months. They spend months doing this, and of course they're kind of evaluating other tools as well, and so forth. So all that stuff is going on. And or what they're doing is, yeah, they're busy building a data warehouse for 2 years, or they are concerned about sometimes it's concerned about security. I sometimes feel it's also about control. So the central IT groups, they have this fear that we would lose control. Right? So yeah, so they want like all of this stuff figured out, like who's gonna do workspaces, who's allowed to do what, and all that stuff. And maybe in there, or maybe like a slight variation is okay. How do we keep it all organized? So my answer to that is that you don't need to figure it all out from the get go. So let's walk through a little bit of the journey, and I think it's perfectly okay to go that way. All right. So, and again, Power BI, Agile BI. So yeah, it's okay to figure out things as you go. Kind of a side quote. Clarity comes from action. Very often, again, and if you realize we do the same thing, right? I mean, we do the same thing in our personal lives as well. we're doing the exact same thing. We're like, oh, I want to become a Power BI consultant, but when I have a line of clients out my door, that's when I would switch. It doesn't work that way, right? So that kind of stuff. So and of course, a whole bunch of things, right? So you realize this is a variation of this one corollary, if you will, right? So yeah. So there's another one which is scariest. Jump and the net shall appear. You can see I have had good teachers. By the way, the quality of your life is defined by the quality of quotes you believe in. All right. Focus, Avi. Focus. Power BI. All right. So journey. The Power BI journey. Power BI organization journey. I think the place where it should start, and for Gustavo, it seems it's already started there, is Power BI desktop. It is so easy. It's free, first of all, right? So Power BI desktop, and it could be one person or a small team. I'm thinking 2 or 3. Right, so of course when people are like stuck with licensing costs, I'm like, what are you talking about? It's free. And they're like, no, but it's not free. I'm like, forget about it. It's free for you now. Just download Power BI Desktop, start evaluating. Maybe you're going to hate it. Who knows? Right, so you download Power BI Desktop, one person, small team, and then you can either share the PBIX file. Yes, that's okay. Share the PBIX file, or just show it in meeting, kind of share your screen and show it. Licensing cost still 0. At this point, you have some interest. Hopefully, you did a good job. So of course, there are two phases here. So I kind of so there's going to be practice projects. That's okay. It's okay if you need practice, but I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm all about doing. Right. So I have this concept of what I call the shining beacon of light project. And I've talked about that before, so I wouldn't go into that. But yeah, but you build something, and it's small. You're still agile. It could be a few days, weeks, at max. But you build this shining beacon of light, and that's what you start sharing, and that's when you show in a meeting, and then people go, whoa, and then people go, whoa, can you do more of that? Can you do this? They say, can you build that for us? Can you build that for our team? It's crazy. It's insane. So some of that happened, and it's going to spread from there. So you shared it, and now these people maybe like that report. So now what you do is you get Power BI Pro trial. You put everybody on a trial. And for this one, I try to like, not like everybody in the company, but whoever was in this meeting, maybe 10 people, I try to have them start the trial together so that everybody has those, I think it's 60 days. So they have those 60 days. So you put everybody on a Power BI trial, and now you can start publish your report to powerbi.com and share it there. At this point, you can work in my workspace. That is okay. Right, so again, you just took baby steps in powerbi.com. And you can, I think you can, and at some point, you're going to be, well, collaborate on the authoring side. Let's just say collaborate. So this can be a one-man show. And Power BI, oddly, I think it works nicely, really nicely with a one-man show. So I know it's a little bit different because earlier BI teams, at least if you talk about BI teams, forget about the business user for a while, they were used to having these separate teams. There would be one team doing ETL, one team collecting requirements, one team maybe focusing on kind of the warehouse, the cube, and another team focused on the reports, maybe one on the support team, maybe a project manager or project management team to manage it all. It was all of that. But Power BI, it's pretty amazing. I mean, usually I feel that like one Power BI author, modeler, can support 100 or 1,000 users. I think easily. I mean, of course they have to be skilled. But anyway, let's. So I think my workspace is okay. But at some point, you're gonna have to collaborate with others. What does that mean? Now, for one is on the PBIX file. This is tricky. I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't touch this one for now. For now, we would say either only one person is working or it is one person at a time. Yeah, so let's keep it that way for now. But then there are other things, especially around reporting. So if one person is creating the PBIX file, then there are probably going to be 10 users who would be creating reports and 100 to 1,000 who would be just consuming the reports, right? So, that's kind of the rough ratio. So, what about those people who want to create reports? Now, this is where something you need off of the model. This is where workspaces can come in. So workspaces kind of let you collaborate. So what workspaces would give you is a small team can kind of huddle and they would say, yep, Avi, you build the model. You're a modeling guy, right? But once you've built the model, John, Jane, and Steve can create reports off of that. And they can kind of interface with the users and all that stuff, right? So that the workspaces give you that. So this single spot where people can come in and collaborate. And I'll admit I haven't checked this in a while, but workspaces, you could kind of invite users as read only. So you could invite those 100 to 1,000 users. Doesn't matter, right? So those would be read only, and then there would be admins who can pretty much kind of handle the model and create reports. You can do it this way. There is also called the Power BI apps. You're not there yet, so that is for large organizations. So my advice is, at least the way I see it, workspaces are fine. Don't use or think apps. So after this, you're gonna have and workspaces can scale quite a bit. So and right, I mean, so workspaces can be pretty flexible. They can scale in a good way, and they're good. And I think the next level is apps. Apps, I really think that it's like if you have thousands of users, sure, apps may come into play. Maybe even smaller than that, 500. But the apps is for a large scale distribution. So let me check back, and I'm gonna read. Yeah. So Gustavo, how did that fit? Does that feel right? Does it feel like, yeah, that makes sense? How does
Yeah,
it fit with what you have seen?
that's actually helping because one of the things that we are trying to do is we not only we're working with this 7 centers across the state, but
Yeah.
we also have stakeholders that are funders, and so they are at the state government level,
Interesting.
and so they will be consuming those reports. So we may be working at any given time with 2 or 3 state departments, and you know how it goes, right? So this one department doesn't know that they're working with us, but they're asking for the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we are also trying to have the opportunity to say, okay, let's kind of gear this more towards collaboration, so that we are all kind of
Mm-hmm.
know what we're working on,
Yeah.
and serve you best because each other can contribute to the project as well. So we might be looking at 5 different types of projects, and those projects will have a set of KPIs that we need to provide to them,
Mm-hmm.
and under those KPIs you will have you
Yeah.
slice the data differently, you drill down. So
Yeah.
if I present that project, I mean, if I'm thinking about, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
the client, the primary client is the state, and it's okay,
Yeah.
state, here we're working on 5 projects with you. And so the way that I was thinking about this is, okay, let's pick you know up to maybe 3, at max, 3 key indicators
Mm-hmm.
that will be the landing page. So project A, 3 performance indicators.
Yeah.
Project B, 3 performance. So there will be this one page that will give you. It will be a call to action, right? Say, wow, that number is up, that number is down. And you click on it, and then you go into that specific project page, and then you can
Yeah.
do other stuff.
Yeah.
So that's sort of what I was, how do I simplify that process? Because some people may just stop at that one point, say, okay, we're good. This is the volume that we're expecting for
Indeed.
this. we're hitting the target.
Yeah.
No, then let me drill down and figure it out more what's going on, rather than giving them the whole view at once.
Yeah, that makes sense. Although, so help me understand. So frankly, the scenario that I covered was everybody was kind of internal within the same company, but it seems like so these state departments are they your clients? So are you working with
They,
these external entities and doing projects for them?
yeah, so we work with, let's say, one of the departments might be the Department of Health and Human Services, and
All
we
right.
are reaching out through call centers. We're helping people get access to specific resources.
Yeah. Okay.
So they are funding that activity so that the program can be reached more broadly into the community. And there's a whole bunch of things that we may track on that call.
Yeah.
And they fund that. They give us money to perform that activity.
Yeah. Got
We
it.
will have things will have targets attached to
Yeah.
it. There will
And
be a charge per call or
yeah.
things.
And on your back end, it doesn't matter which state department you're working with, which client, which project. The back end is the same, right? All of their data resides in a single system. Is that right?
It partially yes. So
Okay.
this is where the data warehouse is coming into place, because we, I mean, to to gain a better insight of all the things that we're doing, we're gonna have to probably
Yeah.
grab data from multiple,
Got
sources.
it. But what I'm saying is like if a state department had, oh, this project, I have a new project for you. It's not like that data would live somewhere else. Or if State Department A versus State Department B, it's not like they would use a different system. It'll be the same systems for all of them, right?
I mean, they're not providing data to us or access to their data.
Yeah.
We create that data through our own system. So
Yeah.
yes,
So
think about it as one
yeah.
system.
So I think in your case, one choice you're gonna have now. Often when there's a scenario like this, where you have multiple internal or external clients, I don't think that part matters. Of course, it just changes things a little bit, but it's kind of different. People need to see different things, right? So if State Department A comes in, they need to see their projects. If State Department B comes in, they need to see their projects, or something like that. Usually that's solved by row level security. So if you haven't kind of considered that, um, keep it on your radar. There can be other ways to solve it. This one is, I mean, I like it. Um, so yeah, keep that in mind if you haven't considered already. All right, cool. Let's switch back to YouTube. Let's see what's going on.
Thanks, Avi.
All right, absolutely. Whippin is saying I have a real world problem with end user wants to key in values in a particular visual. Yeah, Power Apps. Whippin, try that. Mikola says hi, joining again this week. Awesome. Jeff says, hey Avi, I missed something along the way. How do we join Learn Power BI? I'm the user sign up page and sign up disable. Um, yeah, so it's uh, it, it's so the general enrollment is closed right now. Um, yeah, it's my invite only. So if you go to learnpowerbi.com, that has the link to the waitlist. I'll put that. Oh, that didn't work, did that? That was weird. Okay, great. Um, okay, Sile is back. Hey, Sile. Vipin is saying, can I report building resource, put in some plugins in the Power BI? Yes, absolutely. Vipin, so you can use R, that's often used, and you can use Power Apps. And, well, I mean, those would be easier routes, and of course, you can use custom visuals. And You can build your own, I guess. So let's. I'm gonna kind of. Let's see. Maybe I should put in our notes. I'll try to do that. Let me scroll through and see if there are other questions. What happened to my? Oh, dang it. Let's try that again. Sorry, guys, lost the chat window. Oh, there we go. Nice. Oh, the meeting password. Yes, yes. So hold on a second. We'll open up the lines yet. Uh, it was disconnected due to network. Rajesh Kumar. So it sounds like Rajesh, I helped you earlier, but you still having some issues. So let's take some easy ones, and I'm gonna answer Jen's question she had asked earlier as well. So let's do this, and then folks, if you would open the phone lines. So yeah. So if you join talkpowerbi.com, we you do have the ability to dial in at so folks, yeah, the way we do it is we kick off the call and we have the students on the phone with me, and then at some point we open the phone lines for you too, right? So yeah, so just wait for that, right? So that's why it's asking for the password. So hold on there, really quick. So let's see, September 20th, and what I want to do here is I want to note down what I said to Vipin. Oh, shoot. Where did this question go? So I think, Vipin, your questions are kind of related. Oh, man, this is crazy. It hangs every time I try to copy the text. Maybe. All right, guys, give me 1 second. Let me just try to troubleshoot this. YouTube. Oh, boy. I'll just type it in. So we have 0940, and Vipin was asking about user to enter data in Power BI. And then the other one was kind of plugins. So the answer to that is, if you want to interact with the report, Power Apps. Now I'll admit, I'm not sure. Does it immediately update the report? I'm not sure. I know you can enter data, but how does it then refresh the report? Maybe if you're using direct query or something like that, it can. So that's one option. And as kind of far as plugins go, when you say it like that, I'm thinking pretty much, kind of R, Python. I'm not familiar with either of those, but I know that they can be used. You can embed something R in there. You can embed Python code in there. And of course, there's a whole host of custom visuals, and you can build your own custom visual, which would be the long route. That would be certainly be the last resort. So yeah, that's kind of my take. Okay, cool. So Vipin, that's my best answer to you. Jen, hopefully you're still on. Let's see. Maybe we'll answer Said's question as well. What would you say are the essential skills a new person should have before training him on Power BI? I don't know. I don't think it's about the skills. What skills do you need before you learn Power BI? So of course the email that I sent, so it's not skills. It's gonna sound a little weird, but it's kind of the mindset, I think. I don't think it's skills at all. skills are easy. I mean, anybody can learn skills, and you can learn any skill that you want, right? If you really set your mind to it. So another one of quotes to live by: you can do anything you want. All right? Just not everything. So that's where we get lost. We try to do everything. We try to do so much, and we feel like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and yeah. So no, but so of course, the one book that I've recommended is the book's name is The One Thing. And forget the 80-20 rule. This book talks about just focusing on one thing. And of course, there's a lot. So folks, if you get into this, there's a lot of studies out there which says that we actually, humans suck at multitasking. Regardless of what you may believe, scientifically, we suck. In fact, brains technically can't multitask. They switch really fast. That's all they do. But there's a cost to it. There's a terrible cost to it. There's a terrible switching cost. I mean, and of course, think about it in your own example. So, of course, now, kind of I work from home. I can set my own schedule. I'll share my own example, right? If you've noticed that I haven't been very regular with creating videos for my channel, and of course, I don't feel too happy about it. So I was talking to Marianne, who's part of Team Avi, and man, we've tried and we've tried, it didn't work. So the idea that I came up with is 1 week of vacation each month. I'm gonna take a 1 week vacation each month, and that's when I'm gonna do videos. Now, of course, for me, creating videos is fun, so it is kind of a vacation. But so the agreement between Marianne and I is that, yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I'm out that week. I'm on vacation. That way I can just focus on one thing. I'm cranking out videos. And, so I tried it last weekend. I mean, it was so easy. I just recorded 3 videos, and I felt like I could have done 30. So I know how powerful that can be. So, yeah, so less is more, all of that stuff, right? So, yeah, I mean, and go seek out the studies. So we're better at focusing on one thing. So we can learn anything. Skills is immaterial. That's like the lowest thing in my book. So what about this mindset thing? So mindset is really easy. And of course, Satya Nadella talks about this, and he brought that to Microsoft, and look what it did to the stock price. All right. So and he talks about it all the time. And he did so much inside the company. When I was there, I noticed it. I'm sure he's still doing it. Growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And in some ways, you can look at it as optimism versus pessimism. Now, of course, these terms get tricky because it's how you define it, right? But either way, either label you use. So what I'm going to say comes from Sean Aker, author of Happiness Advantage. Happiness Advantage. And the premise of that is really simple. We think that when we're going to achieve something, we're going to be happy, but it's freaking backwards, right? So, happy people achieve more. Happy people get more promotions. Happy doctors diagnose patients better. What was that? Yeah, I mean, all of those statistics. Go read his book. Really awesome. He has a TED Talk as well. So if you want the short version, go watch the TED Talk. Right. So he defined, and I think you can say that was his definition for growth mindset, or so let's say growth mindset / optimism, right? And fixed mindset versus pessimism, whichever way you want to see it, right? So he said this thing which actually I didn't quite agree with. So he said pessimism is always bad, and I didn't think that way, because I think pessimism can be really good. It can keep you safe. So I really think that it's frankly, the general definition of optimism and pessimism, I think they're both valuable. Just in which situation, right? In some situation, optimism is valuable. In some situation, pessimism is valuable. It just so turns out that the world we're living in right now, the situation we're living in, because of the changes and all that stuff, When there's rapid changes, optimism is a lot more valuable than pessimism. It's going to serve you better. When there's threats and risk around, imagine the world war looming or something like that, then possibly pessimism is going to be better than optimism because it's going to keep you safe. So that's the way I saw it, but because I use different definitions of this. The way he defined it was optimism is looking at something and saying, I count. I freaking count. I can make a difference. I can make an impact. I can make a change in myself or the world. That's the way he defined optimism. And pessimism was said, no, I don't matter. Essentially, I don't matter. Oh man, and you hear that, right? So now, of course, my brain is going like just lighting up, and I'm thinking back to all the organizations that I've worked with, all the people that I've worked with, and of course the phases that I have gone through, right? And the people that I talk to, and some people that I meet, clients, potential clients, whatever. And they was like, oh man, yeah, it's always messed up. It's always gonna stay this way. Right? I mean, they say those things. Words have power. They create your reality, right? And right. So I don't think it has anything to do with skills. So of course, the email that I sent out today, and folks, if you can make it funny, then help me out. But so for those who read it, but it was what a blacksmith, a lawyer, an aerospace engineer. Right, so that was the email that I sent out, and of course inspired by the folks that I talked to yesterday. And they not only became Power BI consultants, right? They help others with Power BI. Not just that, each one of them talked about, they didn't see this as a handicap. They saw that as a strength. They talked about how what the skills they had as a blacksmith, as a lawyer, and as an aerospace engineer helped them with Power BI. So think about this. Think about this as a mindset. I hear people complain and make excuses all the time. And guys, that's what it is. I'm going to call a spade, right? So I hear it in 1,000 different variations where, I can't do Power BI, or I can't be good at Power BI, or whatever. I can't become a Power BI consultant or something. I can't learn Power BI because, and it's some freaking label, right? Because I'm not a techie, because I'm an introvert, because I'm too young, because I'm too old. Well, guess what? One of these people is 70 plus, right? And of course we have young folks as well, right? So, and any of these labels, I don't care what label you're putting on yourself, but if you're saying this, my friend, it's on you. All right, I mean, you are creating that reality, right? So you see how kind of backward lives get. That we talked about the happiness advantage. Yeah, this is going to be true, but not because of that, because you're putting that label, right? That's going to make it true. So yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with skills. Blacksmiths can do it, lawyers can do it, aerospace engineers can do it, and I don't know, real estate agents can do it. Right? I mean, we have such a wide variety of people in a program. It's crazy. And I'll say I first kind of saw this in action in Microsoft. So of course, when I was growing up, well, not growing up, but once I got to college, when I was growing up, there was like no computers. I didn't know what computer was. We didn't even have a TV. So we get to college and I knew computers, but all I knew was kind of programmer and developer. And I learned COBOL, and I learned C and Visual Basic, and was it C Sharp? No, that was C++. And was there Visual C++? Maybe it was. Man, there was a whole bunch of stuff. A lot of learning. So, and that's the world I knew. But then I stepped into Microsoft, and you had lawyers working there, you had artists working there, you had cops working there, you had geologists working there, and it all works. Yeah, so, none of that shit matters, man. So, all right, Jen. So I don't know if that kind of made sense, but all right. Oh, Mikola, you're so sweet. Oh, you guys are too kind. You matter, Avi. Thanks for being here for this week after week. Absolutely. Okay, so let's see. So Jen had some feedback. Oh, so RDMS, no, none of that matters, man. None of that matters. Yeah, relational databases, it doesn't matter. So the funniest thing is that, and I've talked with other Power BI trainers. So let's dig in a little bit deeper here. So let's open a new chapter. So let me read the comments really quick. Keisha says hi. Hey Keisha, good to have you back. So our relational databases. Is rusty in Excel, but his mindset is definitely on track. Oh my gosh, he's gonna kill it. If his mindset on his track, he's gonna blow it out of the water. Just focus on mindset. So we talk about the 80-20 rule. It's 80% mindset, and it's funny. I mean, I listen to these like amazing people, and they keep so. Yeah, I forget the name of the lady, but she started her business at 19. Story, let's do 80-20, so I guess we'll make it a part of that. She started a business at 19, and by 28, she was being interviewed when she was 28. She was running a business. It was funny. So the interviewer calls her in, and she says, oh, yeah, you're running this business which is making $8 million per year. And she doesn't say anything. She says, yeah, goes on. In the interview, they realize that this is just one of her businesses. This is just one of her businesses. She had many. She's like, oh yeah, I do that and do this and all that stuff. So pretty accomplished. I mean, the credentials speak for itself. And guess what? She talked about making money. She said, oh, it's 80% mindset, right? So yeah, so it's 80% mindset, folks. So let's come back here, and I totally forgot where I was going here. Oh, RDBMS. So let's go there. Do you need to know whatever? So plug in a thing of your choice, like RD relational database, plug in SQL, whatever else you want to plug in, right? Just put that in there. Doesn't even matter what it is, right? So whatever, again, kind of the label you're putting it. Oh, I'm gonna have a hard time learning Power BI because I don't know Excel, I don't know SQL, I don't know relation databases, any of that, right? So the funny thing is, and again, I've talked to other trainers. So there's one person. Person A. Should we give it a name? Let's go with person A. Has no specific skills. Let's say. Actually, you know what? I'm actually reconsidering. Given I'm glad we got deeper because there are other soft skills which may be more valuable. We'll talk about that. So person A does not have any specific technical skills, and person B. Does have something, right? I mean, maybe not all of it, but either they're like, oh, they're really good at SQL, Excel, something like that, right? So what we have seen is that the A and B, these people, they, that. I mean, think about kind of two cars. One is like speeding; it's really fast, and other is kind of driving at a very controlled pace. But you know how it happens where you both end up at the traffic light at the same time. I mean, somebody was kind of speeding through and maybe cut you off or something, and then at the red light, they're next to you, right? So, they both get there at the same time. Person A and B both get there at the same time because the person B, it does help them in learning some concepts. It does help them. But where they have to work harder is unlearning a whole bunch of stuff. And man, I don't care what background you come from, mate, unlearning is probably the bigger part of your progress. It's the way it is, all right? So of course, if you join a course, if you get a guide, if you get a coach, if you have some help around you, if you have a community, you can speed up that process. And of course, if you do use the agile approach and do it, all that sort of stuff, right? I mean, my agile learning, if you go for that, then you can speed up that process, but it is there. And if you don't deal with it, you're going to be stuck forever. I've seen people who have been around Power BI for years. I'm talking like 3 years, 5 years, and I still look at what they do, and I'm like, dude, that's not Power BI, right? So what happens if you don't unlearn is you have this constant feeling of it's hard, it's a lot of effort because you are swimming upstream. Imagine a fish, you're swimming upstream, man, it's always going to be hard, right? Instead, if you swim downstream, right, if you just switch directions, everything is easy, right? So they have to focus on this unlearning. Guess what? With person A, there is no unlearning. So they don't have the same advantage. these people have possibly in learning some skills. Like Excel guy would say, "Oh, I know this concept already. I understand how that works," but then they have to work on right. So person B has two tasks: learn and unlearn. And person A maybe doesn't have the same advantage when it comes to learning, but the advantage they have is there's nothing to unlearn. So they get they make progress at the same pace. It's crazy, but it's true. Um, what about, let's try another one. What about soft skills? Ooh, these are awesome. So, so for one, anybody looking to kind of change careers and something like that, go read the book. What color is your parachute? uh, I should get royalty. No, just kidding. I'm glad to refer you to the book. It's a brilliant book, and it talks about this. And what it talks about is oh shoot, what's that damn word? What's the word is uh, are portable. I'm gonna go with portable. You don't realize how much of what you do is kind of portable from one career to another, from one tech job to another. Right? Simple example: a C programmer, if they switch to C++ programming or C sharp programming, oh, that's going to be an advantage, right? So yeah, that's your portability, right? But of course, it applies on a big macro scale as well. So I'm going to go back to a blacksmith, a lawyer, an aerospace engineer. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a theme. I'm loving this. Kind of rhymed as well, right? That this is what they right. So again, the funny thing is that again, so this kind of hooks them with the mindset. If you don't see it that way, then you'll fail to have it help you. But if you believe that way, it's like, yeah, I'm not new to this. I mean, let me tell you about the blacksmith. By the way, that is Ken Tyler, and you've seen him on the channel, and of course you're going to see his interview soon when we publish it, right? And what he said was beautiful. By the way, Ken is like a Power BI philosopher. Man, it was pretty amazing just to listen to him. So what he said was that, I mean, actually, you know what? I'm not going to do justice, but I'm going to do my version. What I got from him was, so again, watch for his interview when he comes out. What he said was, essentially, he boiled it down to problem solving. And I was like, what? Yeah, so he said, Avi, it's problem solving, right? So, and he had this beautiful example of when they worked with a farmer who needed a specific device and which wasn't available, and how they kind of made it work. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That it's right. And then of course we had this discussion about the tools that the blacksmith use, and we contrasted that with the tools that there are available in Power BI. How sometimes we have these kind of big tools, kind of the hammer, but then sometimes you need like a fine work tool and so forth. So right. So a lot of those skills are portable. So I think that one is a gold mine. So if you have I would almost call it life skills, and I think that's where our schools let us down. They teach us a lot of the tech skills, which are frankly not the valuable ones, because man, they get outdated really quickly and they're easy to learn. So if you're going to learn anything in school, learn the ability to learn. That's it, right? So build a system which lets you learn things really quickly and fast, and absorb it, really understand it, not like cram it, right? So that's what schools get us. But there's this whole other area of soft skills, life skills, right? So all the stuff that Ken was talking about, Anthony was talking about, that Greg was talking about, was in this realm, right? So Anthony, the lawyer, he talked about how the ability. Oh man, I actually love this too. So think about this. Think about this. If you have the ability to ask good questions, then shut up and listen. Really listen. No, not think about the next thing you're going to say. That's what most people do. I know I'm guilty of that too. Right? So if you come with that skill, how amazingly valuable that's going to be when you're working with Power BI. It is going to be mind-blowing, right? So let's list them out. So the blacksmith, problem solving. a lawyer, ask good questions, and he just said, "Listen, I added shut up for impact," right? So, you know, he didn't say shut up. He's nice. So, aerospace engineer, organization, right? Put everything in the right spot. You know, and we talked about that, and I talked about my love of unloading the dishwasher. That's the best I had, you know. So, right. So, think about these life skills. But here's the thing, guys. You know, how do you go about this? I'm not really sure. I think the answer is you live a good life. You live a happy life. You do something that you love, that makes you jump out of the bed every morning. Right? So, I don't know. There's no like recipe. There's no like, oh yeah, you know, like you shouldn't focus on these like, oh cool, now I'm gonna focus on problem solving. I'm gonna be a great listener. I'm gonna be like all ears. And by the way, you're supposed to listen with your whole body. But anyway, right? So, I'm gonna be very organized. No, it doesn't matter. These are their life skills. You already have your own. First of all, maybe identify those, and that's where this book can help. By the way, What Color is a Parachute? Right? Everybody has them. Everybody has them. You just need to be more aware and leverage them, right? So, yeah, awareness is the first step. So, but otherwise, if you want to develop something, I really think this is the recipe. There was one of my favorite speakers, James Whitaker. James Whitaker. He's, by the way, in Microsoft. And man, I missed, if there's some stuff that I miss at Microsoft. Well, actually, I did have a chance to work with a lot of amazing people. So, well, that was one, right? But hey, I still have amazing people around me, so I don't miss that. But I do miss being able to walk into James Whitaker presentations and stuff. That was a lot of fun. I think it's 2 T's. He was pretty amazing, and he talked about, so he talks about public speaking. And it's like, well, how do you become an interesting speaker? How do you hold the audience's attention? And his answer to that was, you live an interesting life. Go do something interesting, right? Because, you know, one thing he talked about was that you should never make up stories. And, you know, so he talked about kind of storytelling and all that stuff, and all of these need to be kind of true and authentic, and you can't make them up, you can't be fake, and they have to be yours. You can't use other people's stories. It just doesn't work. And I totally agree with him, right? So of course, so I think somebody in the audience asked, well, how do I get interesting stories, right? And he said, man, go live a bloody interesting life, right? If you're not doing anything interesting, then you're not gonna be interesting on stage. All right, cool. Man, that was deep. So hey, but that was a cool. Good path. So, Jen, we all thank you for helping us walk on this. So, what was gonna? I think they had something lined up. Yes, you know what? So let me check in with folks on the phone again. So, Thomas, thanks for joining. Thomas, Bill, Grant is here. Gustavo, if you guys have any question. All good? Okay. Yeah. Let me see. All right, let's see. There are some comments here. Ansgar, you're a lifesaver, mate. It's not portable. Transferable. That now I'm thinking like a porta potty. I don't know why I'm thinking that. No, scratch that. Transferable, of course, much better term. So Gustavo had a quote from Nancy Duarte. Explore, explain, inspire. Wow. That and I feel a little silly, but Nancy, I don't know if we even said her name right, but her name sounds really familiar. Anyway, I'll look her up later. I definitely like her quote. Explore, explain, inspire. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's of course, teach is to learn twice. I'm not sure who said that. I know, to me, it was said by one of our students, Keith Nail. I attributed to him. Gustavo says, I think our ability to clearly communicate is one, if not the greatest challenge for us working with data. Nailed it. All right, so Saeed, we're going to hold off on that feature of Power BI. Let's, so on the phone, I didn't hear any questions. So folks, if you are part of the Talk Power BI club, you can join the Talk Power BI Insiders. Then the password, the calling link is here. And the password is join via phone. Talk Power BI Insiders. Sorry, I apologize. I should update the page. So this is something new that we started, and well, I should update the page saying, hey, the password is going to be shit on the phone. Password is power. Cool. So I'll wait for you guys to call in if somebody on YouTube wants to call in. So if you've gone to talkpowerbi.com, registered, then click the call in link, and now you have the password. Today's password is power. And Marianne and I were like thinking of passwords, and yeah, she had something for next week. All right. So you know what? While I'm waiting for that, maybe we will take Saeed Islam's question. Oh, actually, wait. I see somebody joining in right now. Sahil. I don't have audio from Sahil yet. And folks, if you do join on the phone, make sure to mute me on YouTube. Otherwise, it's going to be echo. Hey, Sahil. How's it going?
Hey, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, sounds good. All right. So, I'm actually new to your channel. I started learning Power BI just from your videos. That 60-minute video was amazing, by the way. So,
Thank
it
you.
named it. So, I'm actually sitting at work right now. So,
All right.
probably not being the most productive guy, but so I'm actually still learning Power BI, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to create a dashboard.
Yeah.
And so, I'm trying. Okay, I'll explain what my data is right now.
Hmm.
So we we have around 160 clients, and
Hey, actually, if you don't mind,
mhm,
I love getting to know the people a little bit before we
mhm.
dive into Power BI. So tell me a bit about yourself.
All right. So I'm 24 years old,
All right.
and I'm working in India, and
Mm-hmm.
my job function right now is it's basically just around handling clients. So I'm an account manager, so I handle clients,
Yeah.
and so what what I was trying to do was try a way to visualize the data that we have in a better way, because right now what we're doing is we create
Yeah.
Excel dashboards, and
Yeah.
it's not that fun, you know. So
Yes, yes. The interactivity is kind of hard to build and so forth. So Sahil, if you will humor me, tell
mhm.
me a little bit, or maybe one thing. Well, what do you do when you're not working?
To be honest, I'm trying to find out ways to improve my skill sets. To be honest, so I try to
Really?
explore.
Oh my gosh!
To be really
Wait,
honest,
that still sounds like work. So yeah, when you're not working, when you're not learning, what are you doing
so
then?
I jump rope a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. How did you get started in that? Just curious.
Okay. So back in 2015, I was really overweight, like really. I was like around 115 kgs, and so I started skipping just
Mm-hmm.
to lose weight,
Yeah.
and it got boring really quickly because just doing the same thing again and again, right? So
Uh-huh.
uh, after a while, I started learning tricks, and it was like 1 year down the road, and
Yeah.
when I looked at myself in the mirror while skipping, it was just beautiful. It's like the way the rope moves, the sound of
Yeah.
the rope thumping on the ground.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. So
Wow.
just the way that excited me a lot. So now I follow a lot of people. So apart from following people like you, I follow a lot
Yeah.
of jumpers, and
Yeah.
I watch their videos. And
Oh my
you
gosh,
know,
that's crazy.
so on Instagram, we post videos of how I'm doing right now, and then I look at other
Beautiful.
people's videos. We challenge each other and things like that. So it's fun.
Wow. Beautiful. Love that. So hey, folks, I'll go back to one of my earlier quotes, which is from my coach. Man, you can do anything, just not everything, right? So yeah, but
Mm,
you can see Sahil's example. I mean, it's not Power BI, but it's such an inspiring example. And Sahil, I think I sensed something else in there with you. So of course, it seems like when jump roping, it you slip into like a different state, right? Where time doesn't flow the same way. Am I
Mhm.
making sense, or does it?
Yes, you are. You
Yeah,
are.
right.
I can actually close my eyes and imagine what you're saying, and
Oh
it makes
yes.
sense. It does.
Y-
So it's like you're in a different world.
Yeah.
So there's music playing, but you're
Yeah.
not actually listening to what's playing. It's you're focusing. You just the idea of the music is just to make sure you, everything else is blocked.
I
You
know.
can
I
only.
know. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just feels amazing because you can. So when I'm jumping, I'm not looking at the rope, but I can feel the rope flowing. I can
Yeah.
feel it hit on the ground.
Almost as if the rope is a part of you,
Right,
right?
exactly.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
exactly.
So guys, this is pretty cool. And by the way, I mean, of course, so you can have the same feeling while doing Power BI, and I feel this way all the time. The same symptoms. So if you think about this, time warps. It doesn't flow the same way, right? And it's
Hmm.
funny because so it depends on your experience, but it can time can be messed up in two ways. One is that it can extend, like you feel like you have a lot of time, and frankly that one is easiest to explain it like a sports analogy. So LeBron James had 1 second to shoot the ball, and he said, oh, 1 second is a lot of time, right? So that's they're talking about that. And of course the other impact is like you don't realize, like Power BI, I could have been doing it for 5 hours, 8 hours, and I look up my lift my head and like, whoa, where did the time go, right? So time kind of just flows. um,
Hmm.
and the other part is this, that it feels like a part of you. What Sahil is describing, and of course what I experience when doing Power BI, and of course I hear this all the time from my students, and they say things like that, like, "Yep, I don't realize the time when I could easily spend a whole day." What they're describing, scientists use is they have a name for it called flow, and it's a beautiful concept. And flow essentially is living in the deep now. And the odd thing is that flow is extremely productive. So people who are in flow, imagine at work and you're doing something that you love, it really boosts productivity. In fact, it boosts productivity, I think, 5 times. So the joke there that the person that was listening to made is that you could walk in on Monday, and that's it. Take the whole week off if you manage to work in flow the whole day, because that's how productive you'll be. Um, so that's pretty cool. I'm glad we got to talk about this. All right. Okay. So come back here. So account manager, and great. I love that. I love the initiative, by the way. And I always say, yeah. I mean, man, you guys are the Power BI pioneers, right? I mean, don't have to wait for somebody to tell you to do something, right? I mean, you can just go do it. So so cool. So let's go with Power BI. So tell me, what our challenge are you facing right now, or what's going on right now?
Okay, so one portion of my data set is on SharePoint,
Okay.
and so it's the actual link on of the URL says it's a list at the end, but I'm not
Yeah.
really sure if it's a page or a list, to be very honest.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I've been able to export that into Power BI, import that into Power BI as a table, and I'm using it to pull data. But
Okay.
there's certain fields that um, my whole team actually manually inputs into that SharePoint. So
Okay.
there's certain values that we input from by running different reports, and we input that data into that SharePoint. And I'm trying to automate that because I'm able to get all of that data that we were manually figuring out through
Yeah.
SQL. I have all that data on my Power BI right now. I
Yeah.
have it
Yeah.
imported, and I'm trying to see if there's a way that I can push that data back
Yeah.
onto that SharePoint because so I read about it, and online there's not a lot of information that supports it, but there were a few guys talking about using Power Apps to maybe create something that could
Yeah.
push data back, and I'm not sure how that works.
Um. Okay. Well, frankly, yeah, I haven't done much Power Apps work, so Power Apps could be there. But let me ask you something else.
Hmm.
Why, if the data can be generated automatically,
Hmm.
why bother putting in the SharePoint list?
So on SharePoint, that's where all of our teams,
Mm-hmm.
external and internal, that's where they actually view that data. So it's
Yeah,
like
but that might change once you start rolling Power BI reporting.
right, but I'm actually in the very starting phase of trying to
Yeah.
convince my whole team to
Yeah.
get on this bandwagon, right? So maybe just a way to start. by automating because there's a lot of okay, so when the whole list starts, it's empty. There's only just my name written. So if it's my client, it'll have my name written and nothing else beside it. There'll be 4 or 5 fields, like
Yeah.
what's the total volumes and all things like that. So volumes and how many trades and things like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Now we figure out that data by running different reports, and then we manually enter them into that and into
Got
the
it.
system. And I was actually creating a dashboard out of that data. But then while I was doing it, I thought, why can't? Isn't there a way that we can
Yeah.
actually
You know what?
automate
I
all?
don't think Power Apps is the right thing. I think what you're looking for is Power Flow somehow. I think maybe looking at that, I'm liking the
Okay.
sound of that. Power Flow can connect systems kind of together, but you would have to focus on like something that triggers it. You know what? I think I got it. So uh, the trigger is going to be will be when a new item is created in SharePoint.
Okay.
So what it can do is so Power Flow is going to say, hey, when a new item is created in SharePoint, then it'll say go run this, and that could be I have no idea how that's going to work. You're going to have to figure that out. But I think that's the best option that I can think of. Looking
Hmm.
at that, I feel pretty hopeful there. But yeah, you can report back to us, see how that worked. Um, Outside of that, I'm sure there might be other solution. I mean, I was thinking of um, maybe like an Excel hack. Um, where so it used to be that you could export a SharePoint list
Hmm.
to a synced Excel file. I'm not
All
sure if
right.
that's still possible. So they will be in sync together. As in Excel, you could hit refresh, or in Excel, you could hit update, and it'll update the SharePoint list. It was incredible.
Wow.
Um, frankly, I'm not sure if that's still possible. But in here, of course, if you got that working, then you could have a set of Excel macros which updated Excel, which updated SharePoint. Look at those. I
Hmm.
will say though that if you can't find kind of an easy solution, then I don't think this is worth it. So I don't think this is the big thing that will kind of really influence them. I don't know. That's just my gut
Hmm.
feel. I think is more going to be about the reporting, and it's going to be so much low effort to do that. So much low effort, possibly
Hmm.
compared to this, right? So be just be mindful of that, right? So imagine instead of trying to do this, you put a little bit of effort, kind of just swimming with Power BI the way it works, which is it's great at pulling data from various sources and then just giving that big picture, and not just that, having it be fully interactive, being able to drill down. So of course, right? I mean, anybody who's running any organization, what do they want? What do they want to do? They want to see a high level picture and say, how are things going? Cool, right? And show that in a few different ways, like, oh, these are the overall numbers, these are the trends, these are the breakdowns, all of that, right? So you get that at one glance. That's awesome. A lot of companies don't have that, or it takes a week to put that together, or something like that, right? So and you put that together and say, hey guys, there's a one-click refresh, right? And then you show them the interactivity. Oh, by the way, you know how we have questions in meetings and we say, well, why is that down? Well, you can just click on that and see why that's down or what's going on, right? And then you can show some more kind of drill through and all that sort of stuff. And that is so easy to do in Power BI. I mean, frankly, when I walk in, I often build these things in 2 to 3 days. For somebody who's relatively new, I would still think that it's possible in weeks, right? So, and that is so easy, and that has such a huge impact that it's worthwhile. And you can go further on that path when you show them that and blow them away. And maybe it's going to take some time. They're going to take some time to absorb it, but inevitably they're going to come back really excited. And guess what? It's going to open the Pandora's box, right? They're going to say, oh, what about this? What about this? Can you do that? Can you do that? Right? You can walk on that path. There's a long way, that's an infinitely long path, right? I mean, Power BI, like business intelligence, is never done. Versus this path, which it shows them that you automated the system, but then what? Like what's next? And frankly, yeah, so I think that might be uh, a better path. But yeah, I'll let you kind of make the call.
Now, I get what you mean, and I think you're right because if I do focus on just automating that, that's done and done, right? There's nothing further than that. You can't
Yeah.
really go ahead on that. But if I can actually convince the whole team to switch from that SharePoint list to this,
Uh,
that's going to be a game changer.
yeah. So, uh, uh, yeah, that could possibly that. And what I would say is just kind of my 2 cents is that often I never bring up the word switching data anything, right? So people are so invested in what they're using right now that they're often sensitive to that. So often, almost always, when I introduce Power BI, I introduce it as a added benefit. That hey, it rides on everything we do. So guys, I mean, keep doing just the way you're doing, but you know how, I mean, we put this thing here and put this thing here, and then we have to work so hard to put the reporting together, and sometimes we don't even get a good view. So Power BI is going to help you there, right? So I'm not talking about switching anything. And so they usually receive that better, and they're more open to that. Oh, okay, cool. I'll check it out. Oh, yeah, this looks useful, or this looks awesome, whatever the reaction is, right? And then I let that sit, and then I improve it and improve it, improve it, and then at some point, and again, I mean, this can be pretty fast. This could mean weeks, right? Then I would say, oh, by the way, I mean, I mean, do you really need to keep adding those fields manually? I mean, I could just pull that automatically. So you're not going to see that in the SharePoint list. You're going to see it in the Power BI reports. But guess what? By this time, they're already heavily using Power BI reports, right? So maybe they would say, "Oh yeah, of course," right? So so how it depends. It's kind of a little bit of a kind of navigate your path, but I'll say don't start off with, "Oh, I'm showing you this because it's going to replace our SharePoint list." Instead of that, hey guys, just look at this, right? I mean, it pulls the data together, shows this view. Tell me if this valuable, or tell me what else would you like to see. What would make it valuable, right? So, go with that.
Yeah, I like that. I do.
Awesome, man. Hey,
Thanks,
that's
Avi.
great, and thank you so much, and thanks for sharing your jump rope stories. What's your Instagram handle, mate? If you want to
It's
share.
right, sure. It's Sahil.Bakshi. So it's SAHIL
Uh huh.
dot BAKSHI. BAKSHI. Yep, that's right.
All right, folks. So hey, if you liked his jump rope story, then follow him on Instagram.
Thanks,
All right,
man.
Sean. All right, take care,
Bye bye.
mate. That was really powerful, folks. So let's see. Oh, Jen was asking what type of business. Not sure, but of course, what he shared: account manager handling clients. Of course, what I love about Power BI is that a lot of these concepts kind of apply kind of anywhere. So any company who's doing kind of client account management, that sort of stuff, this stuff would apply. Cool. So I don't see anybody else new on the phone who joined. Mm, I didn't see any other questions. Oh, Nathan had helped me out as well with the transferable. Thank you guys. um. Oh boy, come on, Jen. You've hung out with me long enough. Words have power. So if you say unlearning is hard, it's gonna be hard. It's it's the easiest thing in the world. Hey, I work on this stuff too. So by the way, folks, I have to post videos because I think it's kind of hilarious. But uh, I performed at you know what? How long has it been in the call? It's like hour and a half. Not late enough, but maybe it's late enough. So I'll post it somewhere on not on my main channel, but maybe on the second channel, maybe on Facebook, somewhere there. But I'm gonna I'm gonna show you guys. What is it? Um, okay, this might be. I hope it's not too loud. Hold on. So I'm gonna reduce the volume. And so I participated in a dance show, something like that. Yeah. So wait, that's me, by the way. This guy, right? So that's me. And wait till the dancing starts. Okay, there we go. Yep. So that's me. And the funny story is that uh, when we started practicing this, I'll maybe let it play. Then when we started practicing this, there was a man. I'm too distracted. I can't watch it. All right, so you saw a glimpse of that. When I started on this, I showed it the first day, and I've never done anything like this before. I show up the first day, and they were teaching like a 20-second dance segment. 20-second dance segment. Now I knew that we had 4 songs, not full songs. They get edited, so each a few minutes long, but they would add up to like 8 minutes or something. So first day they're teaching 20 seconds of dance, and they go through all the steps. And of course, it's all kind of new to me, just the methodology even. Like they do these counts, like they go 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they break it into this 8 count and all that stuff. So I'm trying to catch on, and then they say, "Cool, everybody got it?" And of course I was like, maybe, right? I didn't say anything, and then said, "Okay, so we're gonna do a full rehearsal, like everybody practices, and we're gonna record it so that you can go back and practice it later." And if you watch that video, like 5 seconds into it, I fall behind. So now I don't know the steps, and I'm just trying to see others, and of course, so I'm there's a lag, right? I mean, they do the step, and then a second later, something I do the step, so of course I'm out of sync, and then about kind of 15, somewhere in there, and pretty quickly I give that up as well because I'm like, it's not worth it. And when the video ends, I'm just standing like a rock. I'm just standing, and everybody's doing it. So that was the start. And of course, I had the same thoughts. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. I mean, if 20 seconds was so hard, how can I do it the whole thing? And I should quit and all that sort of stuff, right? But I feel kind of proud that, I took my own medicine, and I'm like, no, man, where's that power? So this is easy. This is so easy. And yes, it took some work. But again, I mean, so the thing is that sometimes, so you can be here and your destination is here. And if you think that, oh, it's so hard, you may still get there, right? But if the other person thinks, well, it's easy, they may still get there. Now, of course, I would say that this person gets there faster. And of course, this person has a risk of not getting there at all, quitting. So I wouldn't say that's the same. And by no means this is going to slow you down, right? Again, I mean, you don't have to believe me. I mean, this is, of course, lots of scientific studies and stuff as well being done on that. Thanks for the researchers there. But even if they got to the same point, think about the journey, right? Think about the time, and right. I mean, so it's not about that end destination, right? It's not about this point. It is about the journey, right? It's journey that matters. All of that stuff. By the way, I'll share something quick, which I recorded for my second channel, which Power On Now. So if you go to, you can find it if you go to my channel, and it's going to be listed on the side. But you can also go to just youtube.com/PowerOnNow. So it's listed over here. So I recorded a video for that yesterday.
This is Avi Singh.
Man, I gotta change that intro. It's always like so shocking. All right, cool. So Marianne, she keeps an eye on YouTube. So I don't know when it's gonna be released, but I'm gonna share what I learned there really quick, if you will. You know what? I'm gonna go back to Sahil and add some notes there and say, the discussion for flow. If you can read up on this, this will be pretty good. Flow, by the way. So let's come back here and talk about something else. So and man, who was that person? Let's see if I can find his name. Nassim Haramein. So he's an accomplished researcher, and if you read his, I mean, he was doing stuff at 9 years old. He was, apparently discovering universal dynamics of matter and energy, which is crazy, right? So he has this new definition of Einstein's space-time idea. So I'm listening to this guy, and frankly, I almost switched it off because it was a little too abstract. And I'll admit, I mean, it was really hard for me to follow. But I'm glad I didn't, because he talked about a whole bunch of stuff, multiverses and concepts of time and all this stuff. But then then the discussion went to the beginning of the universe. Oh, so who do you think? I mean, did it start? Did God create the universe and all that sort of stuff, right? How did it start? And he said, this idea of having a beginning and end, they are human concepts, right? And right, so we are pretty amazing, but we're just a construct in this universe, right? So we created them. And of course, by the way, separately, he's also saying time is a construct we created. Time doesn't exist. There's no concept of time. But what he said kind of made sense. And he said nothing, if you look at it, nothing in nature ever ends. We haven't seen anything in nature. There's nothing that has been observed in nature which ever ended. It just changes. It just flows, right? Matter becomes energy, energy becomes matter. And if there is no end, there can be no beginning. I said, what? Right, so this beginning and end are human concepts. Are human concept this is a construct that we use. And that's okay. I'm not saying, oh, cool, now I'm going to live my life as if there's no end or something like that, right? I'm like, oh, when my project manager says, oh, your tasks are due, this report was due this Thursday, I'll say, come on, man, there's no beginning, there's no end. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is understanding this awareness, right? It always starts with awareness, right? Awareness that our words have power. The thoughts we think, the thoughts we speak, right? They have power. So it starts with this awareness that there's beginning and end is a human concept. You should use it when it serves you, but at other times, it would not serve you well. But then if you have this awareness, you can let go of that. Like, oh, cool. Kind of like a tool, right? So, tool. So you have I don't know. Gosh, I'm reading Star Wars these days. They always have these servo drivers and all this stuff, right? So if you have a servo driver, whatever that is, So right, maybe just change it to screwdriver, right? So if you have a screwdriver and you're working and you feel like, oh, I don't need this, you can put it away, right? You have to be able to do that. So if you're a handyman, how good of a handyman would you be if you're like working with the tool and you realize that it doesn't work, but you still keep using it? No. So of course it starts with the realization that this is a human concept, right? So it is a tool, just like a screwdriver. And hey, if I'm not screwing screws on, if it's something else that I'm dealing with, then I can put it away. So of course this beginning and end, our obsession with this, where is the one place where I see this all the time? So of course I see this with kind of this. We seek the end. We seek kind of a conclusion, right? It's so it's like, oh, when would I be good at Power BI? When would I be good at Power BI, right? And of course, when would I be happy / successful, right? So a lot of these different things, but they don't serve you in this case. Anybody who has chased happiness, anybody who's gone with happiness as a if-then statement, when this happens, then I'll be happy, has probably experienced that they'll never be happy. Right? I mean, maybe that little bit space where you get there and you're like, oh yeah, I did it, but then what? I mean, it's gone, right? And guess what? If it's gone, it's not truly happiness, right? So they, right? So they're chasing this end and they never get there. So this concept is not how the hell do successful. Okay, cool. I spelled it right. And of course, the guys who are when would I be good at Power BI? Most often, these people, they move at the slowest pace, right? The person who sets this aside, they're like, you know what, right? I mean, the people who are like, oh, so how do these people sound? They often sound like, oh, I'm not good. I'm just starting out. Oh, this is so hard. All of these things, right? And the folks who are just blazing their trail are saying, well, I may not be that good, but it doesn't matter. I'll do it anyway, I go find a client. I'll see if I can help them. I'll see if I can find one guy, one person, one client whom I can help, right? They think differently. They're not obsessed with this end. Doesn't matter, right? So in this case, this human construct of beginning and end is not serving you. You got to throw it away, mate. Put it away, right? You're dealing with you need a hex wrench, not a screw, not a screwdriver, right? Put the screwdriver away. But they don't. They don't. So it starts with awareness. Man, that was awesome. Okay. Hey, if you like that stuff, then definitely check out my Power On Now channel. Cool. So have you run out of Power BI questions? What's going on, mates? Come on. We can take a few more. Let me look at the chat. And I'm going to go here. And all right. Janae, thank you for rescuing me. We got it. We got you. I think what you meant was start of the year. That one is really easy. So let's do this. Let's go over here. Everybody needs to listen to that Nassim Harman talk. No, just kidding. I'll give you the summary. So everybody needs a calendar table. Use June as start of year. Dates and beyond, right? So let me show you the not just any calendar table, the ultimate. Why settle for like a mediocre calendar table when you can have the ultimate? Let me find it out for you. Calendar downloads, getting there. Oh, interesting. So dates year to date has a second parameter. So I'll have two parts. I'll answer your question in two parts. For one, dates year to date has a second parameter. That's all you need to use for you. So you're gonna say, what is the end date, right? So in your case, you're gonna say, so square brackets means it's optional, so most people don't use that, but in your case you are going to use it, and you're going to say so for this start of the year is June, so that means May 31. And what I found is that you can specify an year, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what year you specify. You can say 2000, 2019. None of that matters. In fact, what I often do is I just specify this, right? So yeah, I mean, you don't even have to specify the year, right? So you just say 531, and that's it. Dates year to date is going to work correctly. But of course, you need something else as well, because if you have a fiscal year, let me see, fiscal year, then you want to, oh shoot, what am I doing here? Fiscal year count, year to date. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah. So, oh shoot, what the heck? Oh, okay. Actually, it is right. Sorry, I'm just lost. So fiscal year in this case, this was Microsoft, and fiscal year starts at July. Right? So it goes from July through June. That's a fiscal year. So in this case, when you want to say, hey, show me the fiscal year 2016, you want to start with. Why didn't that work? Let me try 18. Ooh, that's progress. 19th. Oh, that's better. Right, so you see, so fiscal year, you want the first month to be July 2018. And the last month is June 2019. That is the Microsoft's fiscal year. That's how I want to show it. Not January through December, that's silly. That's not my year. And of course, you see the dates year to date. Let's try it here. and you see what's going on here, where January, it's resetting in July, the dates year to date. So for this stuff, you need the ultimate calendar table, and you can get that by going to my channel, and all the good stuff, thanks to Marianne on our team, is right at the top. So she's the one who put this together, organized our channel. And right there is the ultimate calendar table. So go through that. It has a download link and all that stuff, and you should be all set. All right, cool. So that was good. Let's see. Nice. So Sile had some tips as well. Cool. Last call for questions. Come on, guys. It's not even been 2 hours. It's okay. I'll go walk my dog. All right. Well, looks like we have come to the end of the journey for today, but it's a journey, and we're going to continue on next week. I'll see you next time. Until then, power on, friends.